everyone, this is John Boy again with Burning Bushcraft, and today I'm making a quick video in response to Equip to Endure's one tool option video. This napkin on my knee is just a few notes that I took. First of all, I just want to thank you guys for watching my videos. Thank you for putting out the challenge or the discussion, whatever you want to call it. For this particular thing, this is something I think about a lot, and I see a lot of people are like, think that one tool is an option, or that one tool will do everything. And I don't personally agree with that. I carry a bunch of tools. I use tools all the time. I'm like a mediocre blacksmith, to say that. And I got into that because I wanted to learn how to make tools. And as a blacksmith, you have to have lots of tools to get the task of blacksmithing done. And that's just the way we are, in a construction job. There's several different things that have to be done, and a lot of your bushcrafting type situations is you're constructing shelters, you're constructing traps, you're constructing fires. And one tool, a lot of times, will do a lot of different jobs. Like a knife, for example, will do a lot of different jobs. An axe will do a lot of different jobs. However, when you use one tool to do a job that it's not really designed very well to do, then you start getting into this kind of an area where you're not doing that tool or that job as efficiently as what you would if you had the tool for that job. It's just like a regular drill will drill drywall screws in with a normal Phillips head bit. However, if you get the spring-loaded ones that have the sleeve, it does it a lot better. So a tool has been made for that specific job. And in the world of bushcrafting, I don't really think that one tool is an option because there are so many different tools. Now, what I will say is that with one tool, I can survive. Because the point behind bushcrafting is to learn about how to do things in the natural way. And tools are really kind of a way to get you in a position where you are able to make things more easily while you're learning how to do other stuff. And I'm also a Pathfinder student, and that's one of the things that Dave Canterbury teaches is that, eventually the idea is to take your stuff with you, and then after that you learn how to not need those things anymore. Where, if you need a knife, you find rocks that you can turn into a blade, or you can even turn a piece of bone into a blade that will carve wood. Like if you're using a piece of bone as a chisel, it'll carve wood really well. But that being said, there are chisels, there are saws, there are knives, for carving, there are knives for skinning and game processing, there are knives for filleting fish, there are knives for every single purpose. And I think, in my own opinion, to take a knife and try to do whatever it is that you have to do to it to make it do all these different things, it loses its value as a knife, because a knife was designed and a knife is made to slice and to carve. A knife is not made for chopping. It's not what a knife does. This is my opinion, but every knife that I've ever used to chop with, it doesn't do that job well at all. But an axe was designed to chop. That's its job. It has weight behind a very thin bit so that it can drive in and it can remove a lot of material very quickly. So if you are in a survival situation, you're gonna want every advantage that you could possibly have. But a lot of times, what you end up, if a person does end up in a survival situation, it's because it has become a survival situation, because they didn't bring something that they needed, or they lost it. So it doesn't really matter, what it is that you're carrying. If you lose it, then it's not going to matter anyway. You're going to have to know how to do things without your tools to begin with. And another thing to be said, like wood processing, I think has gotten this kind of an attitude that I'll say the American attitude of bigger is better. And a lot of times, like I operate on the if you can't break it, don't burn it kind of philosophy because for number one, you're wasting your time. I think honestly, if you're having to do a whole lot of sawing and a whole lot of chopping and stuff like that to get your firewood, if you're in a survival situation, I wouldn't want to be swinging an axe. I wouldn't want to be like wasting a bunch of energy like that. I got to find two trees that are together and I get a log and I just snap that thing off or just break it with my thing and you got to keep feeding the fire. But if you're in that type of a situation, there's not a whole lot for you to do anyway. So with that being said, I'm gonna move on to my next point. um, this and I'm gonna pick on the Tom Brown tracker knife just for a little bit. Not because I don't think that the Tom Brown tracker isn't a cool knife, and I've seen guys use it really well on YouTube. But here's my thing. It's just like I said before. Okay, it one tool, in my opinion, is not capable of doing every task well. Um, and that's what I said before. Now, the Tom Brown tracker knife will do everything that you could possibly think of for it to do in a bushcrafting or a wilderness survival, wilderness self-reliance situation. So, with that being said, however, it's heavy. It's really heavy. You know, most survival situations don't take place because you have something already. They take place because you don't have something. So the average person going out into the woods is not going to carry this massive thing on their hip if that was the only thing that they had. I mean, if you're out hiking on a day hike, I'm not going to carry a 28-ounce knife on my side. I'm not going to do that. I'm just not. If I'm on a day hike. If I'm on a day hike, I'm going to take a knife that's similar to this one here. This is a knife that I made. This is a knife that I'm beginning to love. I hated it at first, but now I'm beginning to love it. But it's a knife that doesn't weigh a whole lot, but it'll still do, like I said, it'll do a lot of tasks. You can shave to the point where you can get dry wood away, or you can baton until you get some dry wood. But the Tom Brown tracker weighs 28 ounces. It's a heavy knife. And on a day hike, I'm not going to carry something like that. If I'm going to carry something that weighs 28 ounces, this axe weighs 28 ounces. Actually, no, I take that back. It weighs 24 ounces, rather. The head of this thing weighs 24 ounces. And this thing will chop like crazy. So, anyway, the price of it. The price of some of these tools, like these knives and stuff like that, they're ridiculously expensive. If I'm going to pay $100 for something, which I don't. None of my tools. The most expensive tool I think in this lot is my Bahco Laplander saw, and I didn't even pay for that. That was a gift. Just checking my time. With the price that you pay for a Tom Brown tracker knife, I could buy a Gronsfors Scandinavian Forest axe, a Bahco Laplander saw, and a Frostmore knife. And those three tools, which would be, my equivalents. I don't have my Mora. I misplaced it. I don't have to. Bahco Laplander saw. This isn't a Gronsfors axe, but I would like to have one when I can. I'm saving to get married right now, so I can't have a Gronsfors axe. But I have this axe, which is going to be in another video later on, actually. And this knife, which would replace my Mora knife in any time. Mora does do certain tasks better than this one does, and I love my Mora knife. I've been carrying one for a really long time. My time is getting really low. I'm at 10 minutes right now. So the point is that if I have the option to buy a Tom Brown tracker knife, or I have the option to buy a Gronsfors axe, a Bahco Laplander saw, and a Mora knife, or even with what you had left over, let's see. I think you'd have in the neighborhood after, let's see, it'd be like 130, 140. You'd have like $60 left. You could buy one of the Condor bushcrafting knives, or you could buy something that would do a similar the finer carving tasks that you need to do, because if you have an axe, a saw, your knife needs to be very minimal. So that's another one of those little points there. So that's a really long rambling video about how I feel about this whole one tool option thing, because honestly I don't think that it is an option. If you're going to go out into the woods, I'm going to go out into the woods. If I'm going to go out on a trip, I am going to take what I need. Period. I'm not going to limit myself. Especially considering that a lot of, and this is again, this is my opinion. I hope I don't rub anybody the wrong way, but I think a lot of the attitude of taking one tool is to just to prove something. And I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm trying to have a good time. Granted, I know how to do a lot of skills. One tool, one knife. If I had a Frostmore knife, I could make it. It would be rough going, but I could make it. And that's the thing too. Like, survival is not an easy thing, and any player, any professional survival instructor will tell you, survival. If you are what is to be considered in survival mode, you're not happy. It's not a good thing. It's not even something to be glorified. It's something that really sucks when it comes down to it. But if I'm out bushcrafting, I want everything that I can have to do all of the tasks that I need to do, and to do each task with the tool that belongs to that task. So that's my rant on the whole one tool option thing. And in my opinion, one tool isn't an option if you have an option. Once again, this is John Boy with Burning Bushcraft. Thank you for watching. If you guys have any comments, questions, whatever, shoot them to me. Thanks. Have a good day.